Okay. Hopefully, my voice is audible to the listeners. Honor thy eyes. And so, what is the significance and what are the signs of an advanced civilization? Okay, guys, I'm writing a note in the chat section. If there's no audio, people can just type volume off. So, where does honoring our own eyes get us? Where does it get us to? I guess I'll start from this view of honor. What I have noticed about this concept, alongside it being what made the samurai badass, to me, the notion of honor and just the positioning of human psychology, at the beginning of my life, it was very singular dimension based. What that means is it's like I was just a person in a world. And then something interesting happened where I realized the meaning of life is not physical. What that means is that when you look at an object, it's just being an object. But when you suddenly, call it a cup, call it a red cup, with a white edge, it's as if like suddenly the meaning of the phenomena is in the inner realms activated or simultaneously kept, right? So to me, for now, at least the way I'm sharing it with others, is that there is an outer life and there is an inner life, If you think about systems having an axis, there's even a branch of philosophy called axiology, which I feel is diving deep into the mystery of how values are being kept. But if you look at life having, in some sense, two dimensions, then it explains a lot of things that in just a singular dimension is unexplainable, So when it comes to the concept of honor, for me, the observation I made was that really it's a relationship of the outer realms with the inner realms. You see, a person can just stand wherever they are and just be like, I'm the most honorable person ever. They can in some sense just close their eyes and envision themselves to be like knighted by the truth of the galaxy. They could try to consider instantaneously in the inner realms the image can actualize as the attention. It's as if when we imagine, it's like we are dreaming while we're awake, but it's not at the same level of unconsciousness of the dream state. It's way more subtler. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that honor, it is to something, for something, of something, a person can, have a sense of honor in regards to their past, like how they have lived in this life so far. A person can have, let's say, they've done dishonorable things, and they could look at the future and be like, okay, there's moments left where honor can exist, you know. But what I'm trying to say is that it's an internal input into the output, okay, into the outer realms. And so it's strange, because if you think about what is being looked at, honor can be attributed. But when you wonder about what is looking through your eyes, that means it's like, if you dive deep into the question of whose honor is it, or if you're an honorable person or an honorable self, you're trying to find the source of that self. And I feel that, in my own personal observation, reality there's two edges, okay? There is an edge to the world, which is in front of our eyes, and it goes to the edge of the cosmos, In other words, the great outer realm mystery is, where's the edge of the world, physical world? And the great inner realm mystery is to recognize that consciousness and free will is being the other edge of the sky. That means if somebody really quickly wants to find the edge of the sky, it's as if your eyes, the relationship that one's intelligence has with form and shape. You see, the eyes provide shape in a very unique way. That means it's one of the most advanced components of reality. It's just even more phenomenal when you realize, like, all those people trying to get enlightened, it's as if the light is in your eyes instantly. It's like, without light, form would not be visible. If form is not visible, there's no structure for the narrative of life's meaning. Honor, when it comes to the future, that means in the past we have examples of that in history books and whatnot. But when it comes to an honor, for the present, of course, it's the most efficient actions I consider to be the most honorable actions. But when it comes to the future, the honor for the future, it's like that honor has a potential of being a collective position of being. It's as if we're drops of rain on leaves right now. And then this drop falls into a river, falls into a stream. The streams connect, become a river. The rivers connect. It's, in some sense, the ocean is there. And so if the future is oceanic and the present is like a drop, then to have an honor for the future would be to have an honor as everything for everything. Pretty much in this episode, I just wanted to bring the attention of the viewers to how their own eyes are, how every person's eyes is an entrance to their own soul, It's kind of poetic. They say the eyes are the windows of the soul, so I guess everything we see is like entering our soul. In my experience, how I have come to honor my own eyes is that it was conditional based on how I thought I see myself, and the moment in this lifetime I realized I am not my thoughts. My thoughts come and go. And if I act, sure, whatever thought there is in the inner realms, that becomes chosen. That means imagine you're like, somebody's talking and you're listening, right? And as you're listening, different thoughts are going through your mind, right? And now imagine one thought is like a happy thought, and one thought is like a, unhappy thought, right? Now, the moment, for example, you choose to speak based on what was in your inner realms, it's like you take that shape, you take the shape of not, it's like in the outer realms you have a shape, which is the body, but the inner realms gives the meaning of the outer realms shape. Okay? Now, for me personally, it's not like I'm a samurai, like I don't like the sense of honor I have, at least, is that I have noticed that there is unknown variables to life, which means that knowledge cannot be an ultimate enclosement. It cannot be a container for the experiential hidden depths of reality, right? It's as if right now, me giving this talk, like, honestly, I know that I am a physical being, and I know that the nature of physical reality is temporary, and I also know that I have one lifetime to physically try to wonder about the relationship of my physical existence with my non-physical experience of this. And I am telling you, people seek paradise, thinking that the concept of paradise, of a utopic repetition, is like the ultimate heaven. But I am telling you, it's as if when you realize there is the unknown, all of it's like a bunch of creatures on a rock started making noises, right? And these noises began becoming like truth. When you realize we're all, every person, every enlightened, unenlightened, smart, stupid person on this planet has been on a rock in the middle of technically nowhere, and when we evolved to have a capacity to define it, right, that's when it became the cosmos and our, backyard, and, it's like everybody's home, but where is home, So I am saying that the unknown has an incredible power. It has an incredible healing power. Why? Because a lot of, you can say, psychological illness for the human being is that it has accepted itself too soon. I am telling you. It's like I can't tell you how many times, like, it's like there should be in an advanced civilization, like self-depreciation technically should be illegal, So what I mean by that is that it's like when it's unknown, that means 50% our theories can have an accuracy, and 50% they will never have an accuracy, right? It's as if it's like it's like we're inside a room and we can't see its edge, right? So based on, imagine one corner of a house, you're trying to fathom all the rooms in the house. It's like, it becomes impossible. What a lot of, I would say, perhaps intellectuals in universities will soon realize is that we don't just need a linguistic archive of how life is happening. We need an experiential development of the species, right? This to me is like honor worthy. This is really what gives my consciousness meaning. There's a lot of things that give it meaning, but micro and macro. But the major thing that I would say that is keeping at least my inner realms alive to me is in some sense this view that within the unknown there is an efficient probability. You see, I'm kind of like a beyond spiritual person, What I'm trying to say is that my inner realms a while ago communicated to me, you could say poetically from an ancient Greek context, the logos told me, that every moment of life, every moment has a very complex precision and has a very simple precision. What I mean by this is that in every moment of your life, there are angles to that moment where a greater result can occur. This means that imagine, like, I don't know, let's say you're baking bread, okay? Oh, you've gone old school, you're baking your own bread, and as you're baking your bread, okay, you suddenly for a second just pause before you put the bread in the oven, and you're like, how many different people on the planet right now exist that in this exact moment have created bread better than me? Some bakers, we got to represent bakers, in the advanced civilization, bakers for advanced civilization. But really what I'm trying to say is every moment of life has a sort of genius angle to it, right? And patience allows that genius angle to happen. Trust allows that genius angle to happen. And simplicity and playfulness. I don't know, there's something about reality that if you actually have simpler presumptions on yourself, the outer realms can't touch you. It can't intervene. Right? It's as if the person was too simple for a complex problem to occur. Oh man. Anyways, in the chat section, and questions are welcomed, whoever's listening. Samantha says, do we also honor the weapons of mass destruction? I mean, if you want to destroy the world, sure. But if you treat the weapons, or just pretty much what's going on the planet right now, I mean, realistically, it's pretty much, again, I'll start from here, it's one rock in the middle of nowhere. And as human beings have become conscious and experientially evolved through different parts of the world, it's as if what cultures are like a collection of the behavior of minds. Okay? So when it comes to military power on the planet, my personal strategy for an advanced civilization is that all violence needs to move in cyberspace. So let's say there are two nations, let's say nation A and nation B, right? They both have a sort of military capability, and these two nations want to go to war, right? So just like this kind of classroom system where if two students are like having an issue, the principal sits down and talks to both of them, and it's like, what's wrong with you kids? But similarly, for nations, both nation and nation B. So imagine nation A and nation B are in the UN. It's like they declare to fight each other. The UN, the United Nations Council, let's say this is in the future, they come to those two nations and says violence is inefficient in the outer realms. So the only way you two can go to war in the presence of the whole classroom of all the other nations who are upholding, just realizing that the mind of the human being has so much greater potential than just us physically breaking each other. So what happens is that the weapons of mass destruction become, in some sense, maybe they create a museum for them in the orbit of space. I don't know what's going to happen, with nuclear capability on this planet. But all I know is that it's super unnecessary when we are at the pioneering phase of realizing how advanced actually the human mind is. So pretty much what I'm saying is the United Nations is going to go to nation A and nation B and be like, okay, you guys want to fight? We've created this video game where both of your militaries have been replicated in pixel form. It's as if instead of fighting in outer physical reality, wars take place in cyberspace. So that means instead of millions of people dying, millions of video game characters die. Right? And then both nations are like, everybody in the UN is standing there, and let's say some next level video game companies helping with this, right? So what happens is that the consequence of the war, and it's an accurate inside the video game, it's an accurate representation of the military of both nations, right? I'm pretty much saying that all violence can be taken to cyberspace, because at the end of violence, it's the minds that have to decide. So if person A, let's say, and person B are fighting, they can fight till the end of time, breaking each other, or they could just, in their minds, come to an agreement, right, through discourse, solve the issue. Like, that's the whole point of the UN. But now, when it comes to I guess, military destructive potentials, it's like, take that into cyberspace. So honor the video. So Samantha, I will tell you in the chat section, honor honor those video game designers who create weapons of mass destruction inside a video game, where World War III would be in digital. It would be inside cyberspace, virtual, right? It wouldn't be actual. Plus, there's this quote, I think it's from Einstein. He's like, I don't know what weapons World War III would be fought with, but I know that World War IV would be with sticks and stones. As if, like, if really the species becomes ignorant, if individual leaders of humanity choose to allow the desire of their personal inner realms to outweigh the potential of the outer realms. Like I'm a person from, like, I was born in the country Iran, and if somebody would ask me, okay, how do you feel about this Islamic dictatorship, I would say, I don't care really what ideology is there in a cult, in a nation. To me, it's that the whole point of leadership is to activate the greatest potential of the individuals, because then it's like, what the hell is the leader doing? Just wasting time. Do you know? So in some sense, I don't know how to tell you, but honor always the potential of life. It's always something you can honor. A person may have a bad day, go look in the mirror and be like, okay, I'm going to honor the potential of life, You see, it's all about the dimensions. Is this on? Okay. It's all about the dimensions we choose to consider to see life through. Which means that what really a hierarchical system is personalized value systems fighting for a sort of just a second, guys. I'm changing the music I'm listening to. Anyways, I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know, but in my inner realms project probabilities for it. To me, when it comes to violence, I'm like, okay, that's a waste of time. It's like, there's genius moments, to genius angles to the moment to be found in every moment. Anyways, back to honoring thy eyes and signs of an advanced civilization. I thought about what would be, first of all, the biggest sign that an advanced civilization is on its way. And I realized it's speech. It's the fact that in our biology, think about it, why would there need to be the development of ears and a mouth? You know what I'm saying? Like, when I think about the planet being spherical, I wonder about why spherical creatures didn't evolve, We gotta keep the context to life greater than the concepts of life, and simply because if we don't, the concept begins to consume reality. So what I mean is that when we expand the context of the meaning of life, we have expanded the ability of every concept for it. You see, I'll give you an example. Right now I'm a person, okay? And let's say I'm human intelligence. Now I think about where is human intelligence, and I'm like, it's on a planet. So suddenly the context shifted from just human intelligence to planetary intelligence, as if human beings are an effect of planetary intelligence. Then I think about, okay, where's the planet? And I think about the galaxy, okay? And so I'm like, okay, there's a galactic level of intelligence, right? And then I think about where's the galaxy, and then it comes to the universe. Then the universe, I think about where it is, it comes the multiverse. So then I think about the multiverse, and it's like you can't count anymore, so it comes the unknown. So for me, in every path that I have taken to know my intelligence, it leads to the unknown. I am telling you. We are unknown. We are being in all human intelligence is present in an unknown way. When we realize this, it's like we will open up a gift greater than world peace. World peace is in some sense as if it's like a museum where the core values of civilization are not being like touched. It's as if there's a sign, do not touch, So pretty much I'll take it here that the biggest sign of an advanced civilization is how there is 8 billion creatures on a rock that have more access than just their inner realms. I mean, take this in. If a person becomes a solipsist, this is why to me I think solipsists are they fear the multidimensional. I don't know why, but some part of me feels a solipsist is like an acceptance too soon. So what it means is that if I'm saying that there's an inner realm and an outer realm, there could be human beings that completely avoid the outer realms and think that their inner realm is the only truth. Okay? Ideological belief systems are doing this, by the way. When you look at people from different religions, right, you see that it's as if they have sworn an subconscious allegiance of the context to their world, to their faith. And I am telling you that what is greater than language is where it can take us. The signs of an advanced civilization is the contentment of the members of the civilization with the unknown. It is the recognition that advancement doesn't mean we forget the past. It means we carry everything into the future. Do you know? It's as if it would be like poetically if like imagine you were some next level extraterrestrial being in this hypothetical sci-fi scenario, and you as this extraterrestrial being, you just saw that there was this planet where a meteor was gonna hit it, or the planet was about to implode or something, and it's as if you was a mighty celestial being in this sci-fi example I'm saying, this hypothetical sci-fi scenario. You instantly, with faster than the speed of light, ran into the surface of that planet and in some sense evacuated, the consciousness of every creature in that, let's say, I don't know, planet X in some galaxy X, in planet X in solar system Y in galaxy Z, But the whole idea is, and that I am saying that when you start caring and wondering that in your individual life, could there have been a collective life? Could there have been a sort of unified vision behind all existential phenomena? Is there a strange pantheistic urge within all moments of reality to, in some sense, dance with change? You see, the whole aim of human consciousness is its continuity. And so our continuity means that we expect to be there in the future, that we expect the species to arrive to the future, right? And so, I mean, if you think about it, we are players in games that the past created. Now we require to become players or conscious human agents in the potential of how Civilization 1.0, it's not that we get rid of Civilization 1.0, we start living as if Civilization 2.0 is here, right? So that means it's as if you were right now behind your eyes. You know, there in one talk I said it's as if we're all teleporters and time travelers behind our eyes. You know, it's like when I remember what I ate yesterday, that's like time traveling for you. You know, when I visualize how the future looks like and it animates in my inner realms and I get an emotion from it, that's me teleporting. You know, so imagination is teleportation, memory is time travel. You know, when it comes to how the eyes are closed and attention still experiences worlds. And so in the inner realms, if you were, let's say, you were just standing on a sky city right now, hearing my talk, it's as if you would look at the planet and you would just get this feeling that if we can live in the sky, all the wars over resources become unnecessary. You see, it's we are fighting for land, not realizing the destiny of the human entities in space. It's as if we were born on this planet, but it doesn't mean the species will always stay on this planet, you know? Like, it's such a profound emotion when you just fathom that there will be children in the far future, maybe, who they are just, their hands are on the windows of spaceships as they are leaving the Earth for the final time. Do you know? Like, it would be, but that's very far in the future if we make mistakes. Survival is an advancement. That means if the major urge for entities, creatures on this rock is to survive, right? It's as if we were like, okay, survival of the body, you know, and we built air conditioning systems. But now if we were to think of the survival of the mind, right, it's pretty much a stage, or I would say an efficient network where every person's intelligence in accordance to their DNA. It's pretty much like 8 billion crew members on a spaceship, and it's like to build an advanced civilization means that you know, the captains of the spaceship realize, like, okay, where is the value of every human life? Do you know? You see, it's not that it's all going to be contained. When I say advanced civilization, it's not like it's like a movie coming to theaters, you know, near you. A movie coming soon. It's more like the activation of a multidimensional being through a recognition that everything it is seeing can be seen in other ways. So when you realize that, the fight for truth stops. Any two people who have ever fought for truth, they're like, no way, we were in a multidimensional position of reality this whole time. And so when there comes a compassion for the inner realms, like, think about this. If somebody is dishonoring their own mind, they will hate the world soon. This is so important to know. You know, if a person reduces the worth of their unknown intelligence that is taking place here, it's as if the worst feeling is to miss out when it was unnecessary. That is the worst feeling. I feel that would be a psychological defeat for the species, you know. if we realize too late how far we could have walked, you know, before the earth wasn't here. And think about it. What is the future in regards to history? It's an endless surprise. The real gift is time. Time is like revealing gifts, you know. Let's say for a religious person, there's a revelation that is in the book, okay, in the religious book, but now you think that there's a revelation of nature. There's so many dimensions to life that, first of all, it's impossible for one person to capture it. I've looked at this world and I'm like, there's so much to see. And even if somehow we saw everything, there would still be the unknown left, right? And if I choose to perceive myself as a materialistic being, then the meaning of life moves from ideological just to energy. I would just be a creature that just would be maintaining my energy, you know. But when that means not directing the energy, just maintaining, as if like a battery that is never being used because it wants to outlast, it wants to, experience immortality. It's as if like it wants to be immortal as long as it can, right? So as a physical entity, it becomes a more of like life is an energetic balance. But if you think about it as a being that has access to ways of being that are like, okay, so it's as if one level of life, I am a physical body, first person point of view out of my eyes, right? Another level of life is how, regardless of where I am, I can animate subjectivity. It's like a skill our species has. Maybe other species, their skill level is different, but a skill our species has, that it's like even if it fails, right, it will revert back to inner templates of meaning. This is why when somebody is defeated, it's as if their whole archetype of victory is like lost. So they revert back to who they were before they were victorious in their own eyes. It's the same with honor. If you do something dishonorable, it's like the honor you've held so far, it feels as if you dropped it, So let me simplify this, and then I need intermission, guys. So, levels to the human being. There's the outer, there's the inner, there's the whole moment, which is pretty much how an unknown witness is aware of the inner and outer at the same time. And let's call that poetically, just to honor the past, the level of the soul. Okay, there's a level of mind, a level for mind, a level for soul, and a level for body. The level for body is 100% known. The level for mind, semi-known, semi-unknown. The level for the soul is 100% unknown. So in other words, there's an unknown self, there's a known self, and then there's the middle, right? There's the bridging, there's the mind. So if I think about the signs of an advanced civilization for the body, would be that if the species suddenly starts developing technologies that are ridiculously increasing the quality of the health of the human being and its lifespan. in one of my chapters of my science fiction novel that I've been working on, it's there's something called immortal juice. Okay, so pretty much it's like some guy goes to a store and he's like, "Hey, sir, it's like, do you have immortal juice? 2 bottles of immortal juice?" Then the guy takes out 1 bottle and says, "1 bottle is all you need, man." So it's as if you drink that juice and then you don't have to worry about it, as if the strongest, the most advanced immune system, the most advanced properties of the bodies are of the biological human bodies being activated. Right? Advancement doesn't mean nature gets replaced with technology, because that is not advanced. What would be more advanced would be, in some sense, nature is preserved to the maximum capability, and then also technology is maxed out. Right? So we're maxing out natural dimensions and unnatural dimensions. So that would be for the body, a sort of immortality effort. When it comes to the mind really, the dimension of the mind has two ways. If somebody was like, "Hey, Mr. Within, what is the mind doing?" I'd be like, it's either receiving or expressing. Okay, that's pretty much it. From the moment we wake up, we are receiving, and then this leads to expression. Right? So imagine you're walking and, I don't know, like your hand hits a cup from the table and like water spills on the ground, right? It's as if like then your mind is already in your inner realms, you're already mopping the floor. In the outer realms, it's as if like, do you see, there's levels to one's expression. Even right now, as I'm giving this talk, of course there are subconscious levels, but I can notice before how I'm saying the words. Right now, there are images in my inner realms. And I can also notice how the images come and go. And the images are kind of like, at least to me, they're outside of me. So in a strange way, even though I close my eyes, it's as if I'm still from a unknown first person point of view witnessing my imagination and then talking about it. So for the mind, it's freedom of expression, freedom of reception. Any time, any advancement in these areas, that means if somehow there was, I don't know, something that made the human being capable to receive way more, like you could suddenly, I don't know, with, let's say, a chemical modification or a technological modification, you could suddenly have the smelling ability of a dog, okay? Or you could suddenly have the, like your ears could hear everything suddenly. Do you see what I'm saying? It's as if like advancements to how we receive reality, even for the mind, is also like efforts of human beings, right? The mind is really what's making us be more than just an object, right? So it's the speed of the mind, also the speed of how a person receives and the speed they express, right? So if we see, like in the next, I don't know, let's say in the next 50 years, we suddenly see so many great writers and novelists and creative human beings expressing, it's like that's a sign. That's a sign that the species is starting to realize through its multidimensional acknowledgement of its own unknown presence that it has way more ability. There's way more we can be responsible of as a collective than just as an individual. So there comes this excitement and human beings being like, yo, is an advanced civilization on its way? It's like, oh yeah, we gotta build it for So, that would be science. When it comes to the unknown self, just the ability to acknowledge it and consider it, that becomes the ultimate destination. Think about it this way. From an Abrahamic religious context, the human being, or I shouldn't say the human being, Adam and Eve, they did something wrong and they took the fruit of knowledge. Okay, so what does that mean? If taking the fruit of knowledge was the mistake, in some sense, the unmistaken state is the unknown. So I'm pretty much saying the most advanced state of being for the human being is unknown. For the human body is, you can say, being able to be maintained in the unknown. For the human mind, it is exploring the unknown. For the soul, for the witness, attributeless witness within, its being it. You see, it's as if the body is in time because the mind is creating it. The mind is not in time because mind is generating the concept of time to itself. So, in some sense, the mind has a relationship with space. So your mind is in space and your body is in time. Now, what the soul is to the mind, it has no other option of appearing as the whole moment, which is the inconceivable factor, right? So in some sense, the soul is like how the moment is alive before what's in it. And if what's in it is the mind, and inside the mind's conscious domain, the body resides, which is navigating. So in some sense, I'm saying that it's like a recognition that it's like three levels of reality that are like an onion. Okay? But if the soul is the greater outer layer, right? The greater outer layer, once it comes off, it's as if like a moment that has no soul. It's like it's powered by mind and body. There's a quote I refer to often in these talks from Rumi where he says, wherever you are, be the soul of that moment. And if you take the notion of the soul as the spirit of the animate, it's like what's alive in the moment. It's as if Rumi's saying, be the life of every moment you're alive in, you know? So I would say the signs for on the level of the soul, like an advanced civilization for a soul would pretty much be advancement beyond the language threshold. In my own, maverick approach of fathoming an advanced civilization called Civ 2.0, I have envisioned it that in 4,600 years from now, I think that's the number I chose. At 4,600 years from now, human beings would be in a position where they have pretty much, if all probabilities are actualized, efficient probabilities, it's as if we have overpopulated the universal sector. I shouldn't say AI, but advanced technology is going out, inhabiting planets and preparing it for human inhabitation. Pretty much the aim of human life to that point, if 4,600 years later we're still biologically around, it would be in some sense it's as if we have experienced the biology to such a degree that now we want to transcend the conceptual domain of life. So advancement beyond the language threshold is like poetically moving beyond the unobservable universe that holds the observable. So it means we're no longer entities 4,600 years from now. And of course, this is my inner probability of what may happen. I'm pretty much someone who feels that the planet needs as many backup strategies, backup systems as it can have. Anyways, so I need a quick break, a quick intermission, and let's give it 15 minutes. And then that's not that quick, but but after 15 minutes, I want to read for the viewers something I wrote. I think it was in 2015. Entries from this book. So if you're interested in that, the book's called The Source of Language. Anyways, I'll be back. Okay, so I've come back a few minutes earlier. During the intermission, I was thinking about what other way can I approach this idea? And I thought about it that that based on the dimensions I see to civilization and an advanced civilization, my sense of the signs come. So I would say, for me personally, the signs of an advanced civilization is when the personality of every human being acknowledges an instantaneous freedom, and once you have experienced freedom, you have courage. Courage comes from finding truth, I would say. You find a moment that it can't get any simpler, you know. If we suddenly opened our eyes and every person in every type of work they're doing on this planet, this goes for chaotic archetypes and ordered archetype, it's as if you wonder about the most advanced and you start doing that. So slowly we begin to see it's as if every human being, simultaneously, regardless of whatever they're doing, working towards an advanced civilization. Because if an advanced civilization means every part of the civilization is advanced, that means in all the departments of life, in all the classifications, in all the professions that the human mind has occupied, it requires advancement. So if you're a gardener, you're trying to plant seeds in the most advanced way, okay? And sometimes what advancement means is how there is the new, and our job is to bring it. Extraction, novelty extraction, that leads to advancement of any moment. That means you could have any idea on yourself. If you want to advance yourself, you'd be like, what else? And there, you know, the unknown provides endless novelty. So the behavior of human beings, no longer misery, stressed entities, but every human being wonders about what their most advanced self, their greatest moment would look like. You use the privilege of having one lifetime to see the depths of who you are, you know. And once you realize poetically the brain takes instructions from the heart, do you know what that means? Is that there is a natural intuition. It's like nature's it's as if the planet gave human beings a telephone, and it's like, call me when you need me, children, you know. And it's as if when a human being sits in nature and just meditates, it's as if it's like a sort of connection with the presence of existence begins occurring, rather than a connection with the ideas on what existence has to be. You see, it's like mastery. Mastery means that the person has experienced the simple levels of a phenomena and the complex levels of the phenomena due to the ridiculous amount of repetition they've had. Exposure to the experience. Like, think of a swordsman, and endlessly every day this swordsman tries to use the sword, you know, and repeats like it's his sword methods, but also practices new methods, you know. that an advanced civilization from the beginning is built in an advanced way, which is another way of saying the most advanced state of the human being brings about the most advanced state world, attracts the most advanced world. If human decency increases, that's a sign of an advanced civilization. If somehow, even though it may seem impossible from 2022's perspective, but if somehow all sectors of civilization began becoming honest, like a ridiculous level of honesty. And honesty means we're coming to the simpler truth of the moment, which is, regardless of any ideological system, the value of human life. You see, it's as if being a human is as if being given the responsibility to not just guard your life, but to guard all the levels of life that you can see. If we suddenly see that future generations realize the incredible wilderness and excitement there is into developing conscious networks of human minds, you see, it's as if the true success of a species is when all its members can acknowledge the greater potential or greater destiny of the whole species. You see, if I was like, okay, we're all gonna die at some point, it's as if it's like, okay, that's a boring narrative. It's a narrative where before any potentials or probabilities were visioned, it was just like an end. It's as if you saw the apocalypse as a multidimensional being in one dimension, and then you're like, yeah, but there's other dimensions, you know. It's like, sure, the world ended in one state, but in other states it is still held. You know, it's poetically like saying that, for at least to the religious mind, it would be something like, even though the day of judgment may come, but still God is standing where it's always been standing. You see, it's as if the presence of truth surpasses its changing cause and effect. Because really what it is that human beings, you have pretty much, I would say, I mean, if I had to give a short answer, you know, human beings can all be classified into two views. Okay, into two states, pretty much all human beings. And this is a very bold statement I'm saying. But it would be as if, like, it's either like the causal position is unknown first, or the effect is unknown. For the human free will, the causal position is known, the effect is unknown, right? That means every human being has a potential of behavior on the planet. But when you think about human beings being the effect, God becomes the cause, or the unknown mystery becomes the cause, or you know, what sparked the Big Bang becomes the cause. What I'm saying is that it's like when you are not the cause of the world, you become a follower of reality. But when you are the cause of the world, you become a leader in reality. To me, I use the terms pilot of consciousness and advanced communicator. Think of it as like part of Mr.Within's terminology. To me, an advanced communicator has not realized it is in the causal position. That means it's as if consciousness is treating itself as an effect, so whatever happens doesn't technically, it's as if like the human being on a planet is like, if the sense of self was in the position of being like an effect, right? It's as if like the driver in the cars, let's say there's a car with people in it, and before this car goes into an accident, or let's say when it goes into an accident, then what happens is that the driver has more guilt than all the passengers. So it's as if, let's say, the intensity of the causal position, pretty much, I'm trying to say. To me, even though they say, like, you look at, for example, lions or gorillas, and you see this sort of alpha beta, probably there's a gamma, but you see this alpha beta psychology, right? And in wolves, you see it. And you see that the alpha position is caring for the physical, is like becomes a guardian of the crew. Okay? Now, the thing about the true alpha position of a multidimensional being, not just a physical being who was just, the more it acted like an animal, it felt it was strong. True strength is in some sense accessing the true power of the moment. Now, the sense of true power, if you engage it ideological, it becomes, you can become possessed by memory, or by subconscious parallel realities of your own memories. Right? So what I mean by this is that if you choose to make truth a shape, then it's as if a shape endlessly in the unknown is tackling the situation. I don't know how to say it. I'll say it this way. Whoever you are, upon the recognition of either the presence of the unknown or your own unknown presence, what tends to happen, that if you have truly experienced the unknown, there would be an aftershock, just like in Normandy, like in like Saving Private Ryan. It's like the main guy was in shell shock, they call it. Like he couldn't hear anything, everything was happening in a slow way, right? So it's as if the overwhelmment of the significance that in the known story of life there is an unknown glitch in the system, right? Which is the observer within, and that which is like the unknown, true unknown variable. So once you realize that, your memory, it's like it's no longer enough for you as a being that your memory identifies you. That means the past doesn't identify you. And when you think about the freedom, you're in the causal position. So you see, it's as if you unshackle yourself from the past to realize the future is truly free. It's as if I don't know. What can I say? Anyways, guys, whenever things start advancing, there you go. Signs of an advanced civilization. In regards to the inner realm, outer realms, I'll say this last thing. Another another view we can have on it is that if there's a known self and an unknown self, and a known world and an unknown world, you can say an advanced civilization means full awareness of the known self and the unknown self, and then the known world and the unknown world. That means in these four departments, in these four categories, if there's any advancement, or human beings dedicate themselves into like expanding each of these sectors of the human psyche, I am telling you, it's like we have accepted the story of the world too soon. The unknown gives us a permission to find other angles. Other angles suggest multidimensionalism. Multidimensionalism suggests endless space. So it's as if there is infinite freedom to be a finite being. You see, wherever you are, this is something where I've noticed in a lot of movies and shows, like the general archetype. Okay? That the general archetype, it doesn't matter where it is thrown, just like a celestial object having a gravitational field to it, or there being a sort of gravitational field to the object, right? It's as if those human beings who find themselves in a causal relationship with their moment, right? Then the environment starts, receiving it. That means, to some, I guess in some metaphysical context, you can say is that like for example, the reason, the viewers of the YouTube channel are like small for now is because I am not fully in that causal position in the outer realms, you know because it's really where the attention is starting. I think every human being that is alive wonders about, okay, I'm some energy. What is, like, how does the environment respond to this energy? We all wonder about this, right? And we realize that there's an inner environment, which is your choice and actions and decisions, and then there's an outer environment, which is how far the world has matured to care for itself. There is okay, anyway, so I won't get into it here. I'll read something, and then the episode may rest gracefully. So in 2000, okay, so even though people have been introduced to me giving these talks, but another dimension of my life where I would say I've advanced something is that I've written a lot, right? And the way I write things is, I would say it's a bit uncommon, because for me, an inspiration finds me, a very profound inner realm scenario finds me, and then I feel instantly having an ability to communicate what I want. It's as if the clarity of the inner realms suggests the speed of the communication in the outer realms. Just like as if something's blurry, you don't know what to say, something suddenly in full focus and instantly you can communicate it. So anyways, this is an unpublished work of mine. Believe it or not, for years I've been working and trying to get a bookstore going. I even wrote books before I started the channel. But the thing is, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a time, maybe, as the old adage says, like, there are no accidents. So anyways, bookstore coming soon. All right. Let's see. Okay, so this is from this book I wrote called The Source of Language, and it's the way the book is designed. It's not like it has chapters, it's just entries. Each entry stands on its own. So it's like a collection of essays, pretty much. So I'm going to read for you essay number 7. It's titled Human Consciousness is the Lower Bunker. And keep in mind, I wrote this in 2015. It's like the eyes I had then are not these eyes. Subjectively speaking. Anyways. Human consciousness is the lower bunker. Self-realization has always happened now. Self-realized yet? The source of language is such a direct experiential, in quotations, indirect experience, that it's as if taking off a mask of time that is stuck in a certain space, and to look in the mirror and see God's faceless face in the reflection that is void in the eternity of your moment. Sincerely and efficiently and wisely know what ideas to detach I don't know, I wrote it this way. Sincerely and efficiently and wisely know what ideas to detach for your moment. Bad karmic weather does not exist for a moment beyond what it is. Many universal presences are guiding this sector by reminding it who it's with. The divine is not an idea, and you're not Alice in Wonderland. Find your divine blessing as it found you. Trust the moment beyond the ignorance of jealous eyes. Nature does not need to fight itself. You are the cosmos in awakening, beyond the seer of ideology and past the mountain of language. A free nature has always found itself. You are here and now. The fear is lost in the future or the past. You are not your shadow. Turn your head around. Ramana Maharshi is a very pure memory of the cosmos, but the mind of thought is still playing language games. Science is not wisdom. The Buddha sat by a tree. What else is there? God is only the truth seeker. Are the rebels of the future going to shout, in quotations, all computers can be shut down? The world must remember itself as it is. Nature's voice must not be hidden and can never be hidden by logic or its lack. Terence McKenna might order mushrooms on his pizza, but the sadhu was in too much of a divine universe to doubt the faith of truth. Has divine movement made your eyes still? A writer writes until there is no ink left. How sincere are you beyond reactive animal reflexes? Live gently and project reality gracefully through the language of your eyes. A mystic once said nothing. Could there be a greater answer? How are your eyes a galactic command beyond a transcendental unit? Your best crew is your self-awareness to your moment. Wisdom requires sincerity to fly. A pilot already knows his destination before the plane of existence's wings of duality are witnessed. Forget symbology, and for one moment of this universe of time and space, let heaven be home, and home be all that is. Tears of bliss are welcome here. And I forgot to mention, guys, in front of every entry, I've written 3 quotes. That means it's like pretty much every essay in this book has 3 quotes I just found from online, which I felt were important and relevant. So for this, human consciousness is the lower bunker that I just read. These are the 3 quotes. Elon Musk: from an evolutionary standpoint, human consciousness has not been around very long. A little light just went on after 4.5 billion years. How often does that happen? Maybe it is quite rare. Ramana Maharshi says, our own self-realization is the greatest service we can render the world. Alan Watts: try to imagine what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Now try to imagine what it was like to wake up having never gone to sleep. I'll read one more and okay. So this is entry 16. I'll read the 3 quotes at the beginning. Moryo Shiba: everyone has a spirit that can be refined. Everyone has a spirit that can be everyone has a spirit that can be refined. What the hell? Okay, it's a repeat. I miswrote it. Everyone has a spirit that can be refined, a body that can be trained in some manner, a suitable path to follow. You are here to realize your inner divinity and manifest your innate enlightenment. By the way, Moryo Shiba is the guy who founded Aikido. He's actually a very fascinating human being. Then we have a quote from Victor Hugo: the aim of art is almost divine. To bring to life again, if it is writing history. To create, if it is writing poetry. George Bernard Shaw: you see things and you say why, in quotations, but I dream things that never were, and I say why not. Advanced communicator right there. You know, I just thought that a civilization could just have those who are maintaining a paradise on earth and those who are building one, you know. So, the title of this essay, the final essay for this episode, The Pen That Opened Worlds. Some writers are not artists, but a divine pen moving on its own. What is the greatness of mankind? Have you felt the soul of souls of the whole cosmos that you are being? Have you felt the soul of souls of the whole cosmos that you are being? Let humanity be the most sincere guide. Live your life now. There is no other time. When time is not the same in the experience of many people, for example, a big shot CEO and a silent Zen monk, as they are two different moments, we suddenly notice a very unique point. If two people or maybe 8 billion people are having different experiences of time, then how real is time really? And could it be that in our infinite unknown, we all share the same oneness of emptiness, intelligent beyond the conceivable shape? Life is too dynamic to be static. Life is too static to be dynamic. Has the CEO witnessed the selfless beauty of Zen? Even monks should not get attached to emptiness. Just be who you are. What else is life asking? Before we all Satchitananda out of here. For the ego never existed when all manifestation moves at once. Return to the beauty of the here and now. Where else would everything go? If the location was defined relative to everything, could enlightenment be simpler than we, in quotations I've written here, think? You are the untouchable bliss of cosmic consciousness. How can life move you without knowing where it is moving you to? Let us not just be experts on nothing, but to be the wisdom of the cosmos as more than a disguised God. Truth cannot lie. How could you fall if before you were up? What I mean is that good is based on bad, and bad is based on good, a sweet couple dancing on reality's lens. So as up and down are relative, you only need to get redeemed in proportion to the intensity of guilt that you have self-imposed. When we notice the world is real in our eyes, there is no outer rebellion but an internal self-inquiry that reminds clarity what it is. To be Zen and opinionless means to not allow duality to exist for the view that is originating it beyond that duality. Love and compassion are important, but only to the awareness that is the self beyond the idea of the in quotation self. Wild wisdom shall find you once truth has found an honest mirror. Life is communicating with us all the time. Time is a communication of life. What that means is that if you're sitting somewhere reading this, simultaneously the planet, the world, the whole cosmos, and the moment is communicating to you as you. The moment is grand. If the planet could speak, what would she say to you? Once one realizes that the nature of all thought is void and colored only by personal view and ethnocentric tendencies, and that the nature of all objective phenomena is empty, and it is only once your eyes are open that you begin painting you begin painting the empty canvas of the day with your own means. This brings up a very interesting question. If it is only when our eyes open that we see the object and the value, prior to that view, could there be an awareness of being that was aware that there was no picture yet? So just like a coin, the duality of the veil is also simultaneously being its unity. The alchemy of chaotic order is a suggestion that language is creating most of our lives. But once the attention within the attention is found, a collective realization was never for an individual, but only individual through ignorant elusive acceptance. When you are within God, that also means God is within you. For when we again wonder about where our sensory perception is being received, it seems the light of sight must enter our eyes, so is externality only being internally received. Do you ever see anything beyond what light has allowed? Seems like the projector projected on the wall is shaking. One's self-inquiry is intently decided upon. You will sincerely detach from time to be administered by the divine, in quotations, supersoul, intelligence within all things. Para-Brahman shall be remembered greatly. The mystery of light must be pondered on beyond the walls of science. The formula is an effect of a cause unknown. So if science is acknowledging a cause and effect universe, then it may be noteworthy to first deeply wonder about the depth of cause and effect dynamics and to truly study the nature of consciousness. For a writer, there is a world both on paper and off paper. The observance of how existence is existing for you through such sincere self-reflection will move away from the mirror of illusion that was always void. So when you write, either a world is within you, or you too are in a greater world beyond your conception. The pilots of consciousness navigate as the whole plane of existence. That means as you are reading these words, consciousness is simultaneously being empty, full, and beyond. Could transcendence ever be an idea? Life cannot be caged in thought, for the awareness prior and beyond the thought was never caged. As the stream of sincere devotional intelligence is found, let faith carry you towards the one and only true nature of reality, the ocean of consciousness that has embodied spectrums in this world of forms of us. The many shall remember the one shall remember the many. So the attention to the language is beyond the language. Life has not manifested you to be ignored and bored. The greatness of your design must be self-realized through an unchanging moment. Are you afraid of the rope that looks like a snake? The great service is to not attend to our natural state of being. I'll read that again. The greatest service is to attend to our natural state of being, which as intelligent life already knows what to do. Mystical and yogic studies must be advanced more. The new wave of treasure revealers is no longer to search for anything outside, but to realize the treasure within. The dream of life is beautiful, but the awakening has beauty too. Awakening to what? To a moment beyond the experience of language of ideas. When God's mind becomes a source beyond all the language that defines it, silence is too a divine gift. Wisdom is now. Your consciousness has always blissfully been breathing it. In the love of all that is, in the gratefulness to know thyself, the world and you are the same moment. And the battery of my laptop's pretty low, so thank you for listening. But ultimately remember, if we cannot honor our own eyes, we cannot honor the eyes of the species. If we cannot accept, think of yourself, wherever you are listening, as a member of a civilization that will advance. Because there's nowhere else to go. It's the greatest game to play in the outer realms. Honor the presence of life that you are. 4.5 billion years, and now your eyes have arrived. Greatness is not something we hope for. It is the birthright of intelligence in this realm. And an advanced civilization is just the outer part of it. In our inner realms, it would be an advanced state of mind that is poetically, the advanced communicators of the future will, in some sense, hear the pulse and the breath of every human being at the same time. You know, it's as if you, I would say it's like after you have loved your world, now the world, in some sense, is changing, and so the love requires to not adjust, but it's as if the great work of attention is now. It has always been. Thank you for listening.